Hello to you. My name is Maria Kądzielska and this is Poland Daily Culture. We continue to talk about books, but books we talk today about are absolutely unique. With me is Bartłomiej Felosz, one of the booksellers in Manuscript Publishing House. And you are definitely publishing amazing and unique books. And with us, in front of us, is manuscript of Rzewuski, which is published in a beautiful, beautiful way. And Rzewuski was Polish Indiana Jones or Polish Lawrence of Arabia, but living much 100 years earlier before Lawrence. And he was a unique character. And because of Rzewuski, we have in Poland the breeding of Arabic horse. And I'm just astonished myself that I haven't heard about him before, and that in Poland it's not a common knowledge. But because of your book, it becomes a common knowledge, yes?
I hope so. I hope so. It's really worth, because the person of Rzewuski, this is a unique in our history. Unique person in our history. He became a friend of the Bedouins. He became a Bedouin in fact. One of the few persons in the world who was so much connected to the culture of Bedouin culture at that time till today. He got two titles of Emir from the Bedouin tribes, Taj al-Fakhr, Abd al-Nishan. These are these two titles, because he was a military leader. He was leading Bedouins against Turks. Unfortunately, Arabian Peninsula at that time was very often attacked by Turks. So he gave the hope of the Bedouins that they can really fight against them. When he came back to Poland, he was still wearing the Bedouin suit.
So it is really funny. So. In those times when men were wearing big hats and suits, he was wearing a Bedouin suit.
Can you imagine the Polish counts walking down the streets of Berlin or Warsaw or Lvov wearing the Bedouin dress? Well, amazing.
Definitely no one mixed him with any other person in the world.
There is a nice story to tell about Rzewuski, because when he came back to Poland, he brought a lot of really beautiful Arabian horse to Europe. He built up the stud, and he never ever again lived in his palace in Podole. He built up the tents, and he was living with the horses all year long. So
they brainwashed him, basically. Well, he stopped being Polish nobleman, he became a Bedouin man.
Arabian horses, this was the obsession of him. But he was as well the big patriot of Poland, because when there was a revolt, general revolt in Poland, he created the squadron of 40 horse riders on his best Arabian horses, and he took part in many fights, in many battles against Russians. The story says that he died in one of them, but we cannot say definitely, because his body was never found. And there are these two stories. One is romantic, one is more realistic. The realistic says that he died and his body was buried somewhere, robbed and buried.
So we don't know where the grave of Rzewuski is?
No, we don't know. But there is another story which sounds very true, because some says that Rzewuski came back to Arabia and he became the Bedouin. And there are two proofs of life. Coming from British traveler, and he was writing the letter to his family in London. Unfortunately, this letter does not exist anymore. It's lost. And in this letter, he was saying that he found in the middle of the mosque in Damascus an old guy wearing the Bedouin dress and presenting him as Count Wacław Rzewuski, the Polish count.
So maybe he actually survived.
Exactly. Another proof, this is the letter to the family written by Rzewuski to his family in Podole. Unfortunately, it is lost as well.
So we don't really know. The Rzewuski himself is a mystery, but in order to resolve some of the mystery and keep him in life, you created this scientific copy of the book, and every lover of horse riding, but also every lover of Polish history is able to also read it, to study it, and to keep the memory of Rzewuski alive.
Yes, because this book is a treasury for Polish culture. A few years ago, the king of Saudi Arabia wanted to buy it from Poland, but of course it is a treasury, so nobody could sell it to them. But we have to say that this is a treasury of Arabian Peninsula, absolutely unique in the world and non-comparable to any other existing. There is nothing comparable.
I do think that there should be a movie made about Rzewuski.
There was an idea, and we could even do the better movie than Indiana Jones. Absolutely.
There are movies about Lawrence of Arabia. There is no movie about Rzewuski.
Exactly. And comparing these two personalities, Lawrence of Arabia was a spy, and unfortunately, he has this opinion of Arab people till today. And Rzewuski was a friend of Bedouin, was one of them. And he was in Arabian Peninsula 100 years before Lawrence.
Yes, and even the fact that Poles are known and were known later on based on the breeding of Arabian horses, it's also his testimony, isn't it?
It is. Inside the manuscript, we can find a lot of very interesting things and adventures of Rzewuski at the Arabian Peninsula. There's one little page full of the notes, because Rzewuski, he was a musician as well. Among all his talents, he was a musician. And inside the book, we will find the notes presenting the melody and the music of Aneza tribe, which is one of the biggest in the middle of, in the heart of Arabian Peninsula. And for many years, the people used to say that Aneza did not have their own music. Inside the manuscript, we have a proof that they had it. They really had it.
So it's amazing, and it's really fascinating story, and I myself would like to know more about it. And I do hope that the audience of Poland Daily are right now mystified by the story of Rzewuski and of those amazing manuscripts published so beautifully. So the emirs in Saudi Arabia have the copies of those, which I'm right now holding in my hands. Maybe you will be the lucky owner of one of them as well. And thank you very much for watching Poland Daily Culture.